ॐ विश्वं दर्पणदृश्यमाननगरी तुल्यन्निजान्तर्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिरिवोद्भूतं यथा निद्रया यः साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयं तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्रचित्रे कृतं मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यपि महायोगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ Verse 153. या बुद्धिवासनास्तासु चैतन्यं प्रतिबिम्बति मेघाकाशवदस्पष्ट चिदाभासोऽनुमीयताम्. So, the direct meaning of Ishvara is a mixture of three things. And this is the definition of Ishvara has been given by the Veda itself. Maya Pratibimbita Chaitanyam Ishvara. And so three components are there. One is a medium called Maya, the second is a Chidabhasa, the reflected consciousness, and the third is the consciousness or Brahman. And out of that we completed the discussion on the medium called Maya. Up to verse 151. I think it started from 121 or so. And up to 151 we discussed on a one component of the definition of Ishvara, that is Maya. Now the second component is a reflection. And so that reflection or reflected consciousness, Chidabhasa, etc., Maya Pratibimba Chidabhasa is Ishvara. And the second component is a reflected consciousness. And that discussion is now going on. So very beautifully and systematically Vidyaranya Swamiji is developing this topic called Ishvara, which is nothing but a Tat-Pada analysis. So ultimately he wants to show an identity between Tvam and Tat. And so for that purpose he's Tvam Pada we have completed the discussion. Tat-Pada discussion is going on. In that, we discussed one component called Maya and the second component is going on. So he wants to say that this, the Karana Prapancha, etc., or at the individual level we can call Karana Shariram, must have a Pratibimbit Chaitanyam. Because, you see, the thing is, Maya Pratibimbita Chaitanyam, we say, is Ishvara. Then, of course, Maya we have seen and we have understood. And Maya has been proven with a Pratyaksha Pramana as well as with a Shruti Pramana and then Anumanam also, right? All the way we saw. So Maya is available for experience, so medium is there. And then Maya is established by the Shruti also. And Anumanam, with the Tarka you can understand the Swarupa of the Maya, the status of the Maya, the purpose, etc. We have seen everything. So, but then, okay, so we accept Maya. Then, how do you say Maya has a reflected consciousness? How will you prove? So that is the task now. The topic is reflected consciousness, that's fine. But how do you say Maya or the Karana Prapancha has a reflection? Or I would, without taking your permission, I would take it as why Karana Prapancha? How Karana Sharira has a definitely the Pratibimba. Why you have come down to the Vyashti level, individual level? Because ultimately Karana Prapancha includes all Karana Sharira. That is what it is. All Karana Sharira basically I would not say total. I would not say total. I would say Karana Prapancha includes basically all the Karana Sharirams. Which is we cannot make a total of Karana Sharira. We general people say something like that. That when you add all the Karana Sharira, that becomes a Karana Prapancha called Maya. I would not say. Karana Prapancha includes all Karana Sharira. That's better way of saying. Anyway, so if Karana Prapancha Maya has a Pratibimba, if you want to prove, well, you can prove that even an individual, that Karana Sharira has a Chidabhasa or reflected consciousness. And so, basically, so the question is, how will you prove? So he wants to give a logical proof. Why logical proof? You do not have any pramana. Proof means pramana. You don't have any pramana. Why do you want to go by logic? Because who will see? Karana Sharira, first you should see. And then you should see the Chidabhasa in that, the reflection. Then you can say, well, Pratyaksha is working. So Pratyaksha becomes a proof for proving a Chidabhasa in Karana Sharira when the medium itself is experienced by you. And Karana Sharira being unmanifest. Well, where is the question of becoming an object of an Pratyaksha perception? If anything which is an unmanifest thing is a one which cannot become an object of perception. And therefore, well, definitely you will have to, if Pratyaksha doesn't work, and in a Paurushaya Pramana Pratyaksha doesn't work, then you have to go to Anumana. What else you can do? There is no other way. Well, Shruti will say that's a different thing. So right now, well, what is available to me, the means of knowledge or the proofs available to me, I have to use one of them. And for Karana Sharira, I have to use Anumanam. And so, we will have, so Vidyaranya also wants to give a logical proof for the reflection in a Karana Sharira. He gives that. And for that, well, he is preparing us that the Sukshma Sharira has got reflected consciousness is evidently experienced by all. Clear, right? Mind is conscious, I need not have to ask you. Your eyes are conscious, I need not have, sentient, I need not have to ask you. The fact that you are seeing me, well, it proves the eyes are sentient, right? The fact that your ears are able to hear right now proves that ears are sentient. And therefore, well, definitely the subtle body or even a gross body is sentient. You need not have to ask to anybody. Yeah, that is okay. That's okay. Sukshma Sharira and Sthula Sharira are sentient. I need not have to ask. It's a matter of a direct experience. That is correct. But then if they are sentient and therefore they have a reflection, how do you say? How do you say that? Well, because the subtle body, even the gross body, are made up of elements. 5 elements. And none of the element is sentient. Then you put together elements. The body is subtle or gross, going to be inert only. Then inert body now has a sentiency. Means what? Means what? Inert body has a sentiency means it has borrowed. That's all. Over. It has a borrowed consciousness. Borrowed consciousness is called reflection. That's all it is. Okay? Borrowed consciousness is a reflection. Anyway, so this is how, this is all, here we are not going by Shruti. Shruti says everything, that's fine. So this is all Anumana. This is logic. We do. An inert thing appears sentient because it is a matter of your own experience that your mind is thinking, doing some kind of a decision and contemplating upon something and has a sankalpa, vikalpa. Your senses are working, seeing and hearing and everything is going on. All are sentient. And therefore definitely inert, they are all inert. And they work as a sentient beings. Well, or the sentient, they are sentient. Well, definitely they have a borrowed consciousness. That borrowed consciousness is called Chidabhasa. They have borrowed consciousness. And therefore, Sukshma Sharira and Sthula Sharira basically have a reflected consciousness is evidently, it is evident to everyone. And it has a borrowed consciousness, means it has a Chidabhasa, is also evident. Now Vidyaranya Swami says, if Sthula Sukshma Shariram has a Chidabhasa, its Karanam also must have a Chidabhasa. Definitely. And therefore, because Karanam is nothing but, Karanam Shariram is nothing but the Sthula and Sukshma Sharira in unmanifest form. And therefore, so there from the Karya Pratibimba, from the reflection in the Karyam called Sthula and Sukshma Sharira, we can infer the reflection in a Karanam also, Karana Sharira also. And because Karyam and Karanam are basically same material alone, only difference in a state. Material in a one state is a Karanam, material in a different state is a Karyam. And therefore, from Karya Pratibimba, because this thing also will occur. Swamiji, because subtle body has, you were saying that it has a very, it is made up of fine material and therefore definitely it can reflect. What about Karana Sharira? Well, because Karyam and Karanam are essentially one. Material in terms of material, essentially means in terms of material it is one. Only states are different, right? And therefore, basically Karana Shariram also, if Karya Shariram, that is, the subtle body, etc., well, definitely can reflect, then its Karanam also will have a reflection. And therefore, Karyam and Karanam are the same material in two different states. Like I can give you another example, like a stainless steel plate. Okay, stainless steel plate, in which we eat. It's a new, let's say, and it has a reflection. Your reflection is there in the light. You will find that there your reflection. Well, if stainless steel plate, SS plate, has your reflection, then the material of it, right, the Karanam of that plate, called stainless steel, something else. A sheet, let's say, stainless steel sheet, or just stainless steel, will also have a reflection, or not? Yeah, it will have a reflection. That's all it is. So, Karyam and Karanam are both made up of, in terms of material, they are one alone. Only states are different. Material in one state is a Karanam, material in a different state it is Karyam. And therefore, and therefore Sthula and Sukshma Sharira are, they are nothing but, they will be there in a potential state. That is called Karanam. And so the one thing is, Karyam is that basically Karanam alone when manifest, we call it Karyam. And so reflection is also very, very evident in that manifest state. And in a Sukshma Shariram it is very evident and manifest, the reflection. And in Karanam, it is, since Karanam, the medium itself is Avyaktam, the reflection also, the Chidabhasa also will be Avyaktam. And for that he reminds us, he gives an example. I think it's then that example is a new example, it's a reminder actually. And that example is of a Megha Akasha. If you remember, we have seen 4 kind of Akasha, right? Just tell me what are the 4 Akashas, that is sufficient for me. But anyway, okay, don't say that. But here this is Megha Akasha. Megha Akasha means you have to add one word in that. Megha Akasha is a Madhyama Padalopi Samasa. So it is like a Shaka Parthivaha. Shaka Priya Parthivaha. Chalpaben. So Shaka Priyaha Parthivaha. It is, you have to add one word. And that is called Madhyama Padalopa Samasa. So the Parthiva, the Devada, or the person, is a particular person named Parthiva. Well, he is Shaka Priya, who likes vegetables very much. Okay? And so here this is Megha Akasha means Megha Pratibimbita Akasha. And so we have discussed that thing before. And through inference we established there that where I am going to give you the number. Through the inference we establish that the cloud, the Megha, the cloud must have a reflected space. Megha Pratibimbita Akasha. And how can you see? Because you say it's an inference that in that rain-bearing clouds, right? The Akasha is reflected in that. How? You cannot go there and see, and that's why we are inferring. We cannot go there and see. That's how we are inferring. But what is the basis for an inference that it has a reflection of Akasha? Well, water drops have a reflection that is there on the earth also. A water drop has a reflection of the Akasha, and which we are able to experience directly on the ground. And so rain bearing cloud also consists of water drops only, and therefore we can infer that there is a reflection of akasha also there. Similarly, means he is giving this example, and now let's compare our thing. Similarly, he wants to say this karana prapancha, that maya, consists of drops of sukshma sharira. No, drops of sukshma sharira. It drops of sukshma sharira. What are you talking? We don't want to hear this thing. Drops of sukshma sharira. Yeah, drops of sukshma sharira means the sukshma sharira in a potential form. Don't worry about too much. Don't think this sukshma sharira is a water drop. But this is like, we have to compare. What can I do? So, Megha is basically Maya. This will come further. Megha is a Maya in which thousands and thousands and lakhs, millions, lakhs I cannot say here, millions of water drops are there, right? And in each drop, there is a reflection of Akasha. Well, because you have seen on the ground that there are water drops, and in the water drop, well, definitely Akasha is reflected, and therefore, basically there also. And there are plenty, in fact. Here maybe here and there you might have seen few drops, but Megha means what? Thousands and thousands of water drops, and in each there is a reflection. Okay? Same way, Maya is like a Megha in which there are thousands and thousands, billions and trillions of water drops called Sukshma Sharira. And so Sukshma Sharira in a potential form is naturally, well, that is the Karana Shariram, and all this Karana Shariram ultimately that is Maya, that is the Karana Prapancha, and therefore, so Maya, which is an embodiment of all the Sukshma Shariram in potential form, that Maya also must have Pratibimbita Chaitanya. Look at the shloka. Buddhi Vasana. So Buddhi Vasana, we know Buddhi means subtle body, right? So here also this word Vasana, yesterday also we have translated word Vasana as a Karana Sharira only. So Buddhi Vasana means Buddhi Bijam, we can say, seed form of a Buddhi. So Buddhi Bijam is this Karana Shariram, for which Vidyaranya has used in word Vasana. Vasana means, well, basically Karana Shariram, which is nothing but a Buddhi Bijam, which is a seed of a Buddhi called subtle body. Here he uses word Buddhi, but we have to understand Sukshma Shariram. The seed of Sukshma Shariram is Karana Shariram. So Ya Buddhi Vasanaha Tasu. In that Samashti Buddhi, well, in potential form, which is otherwise called Maya, well, Chaitanyam Pratibimbati, this consciousness must be reflected. How do you know? By inference. So he says, Chidabhasaha Anumiyatam, may you infer the presence of Chidabhasa in that Maya. What type of a Chidabhasa? Aspashta Chidabhasa. So, Megha Akashavat Aspashta Chidabhasaha. Aspashta Chidabhasa, which is not very clear. Why? Why it is not clear? Because Maya means everything in a dormant state, dormant condition, and avyakta condition, and therefore it is aspashtam. Because it is aspashtam only, we have to infer. Otherwise, why should we infer? What is spashtam? What is clear to you? Well, it should be available for your perception. But since Maya means basically it is unmanifest, potential, and definitely in that Maya there are all these water drops called Sukshma Sharira. They are also in potential state, naturally. That is what, and so potential state, and therefore the Pratibimba in each Buddhi, in each Sukshma Sharira which is in a potential state, that Pratibimba also is aspashtam, not clear. And therefore we have to infer. If it is spashtam, we need not have to infer, naturally. And that is how this Nayayika philosopher, basically has been using all the time this inference, because somehow, Pratyaksha, this Nayayika, everything, he wants to prove everything through Nyaya, means through Anumana, through Tarka. Even what is perceptible, for that you need not have to infer anything, you need not have to give logic anything, because it is available for perception. There also he wants to prove through Nyaya only, through Anumana only. He is a very typical person, basically, this Nayayika. And So Vedantin makes a humorous joke, basically. I mean, humorous joke, humorous remark, okay? And therefore, about him, in front of him, that suppose he says, well, myself and this Nayayika were going together in a jungle, and well, they come across an elephant, and this Vedantin say, oh, let's run. This is a wild elephant. He says, well, wait. Why? Why should I wait? Vedanti says, I want to run. And why Vedanti wants to run, that is also a different criteria. Well, I don't want to touch into that. But Nayayika does not want to run. Nayayika wants to prove that there is elephant. Imagine. He is seeing through the eyes. Vedantin also saying, everyone is seeing, and this fellow stands there and he says, let me first prove that there is elephant. Hey, how will you prove? He will say, well, this must be an elephant. What is this? This is elephant, you should say. No, this must be an elephant because it has got some special features. And those features are not there in me, not there in you, not there in this tree, not there in this, and therefore this is elephant. By the time elephant will, kick you. And so what I am saying is, what is available for perception, Nayayika really wants to prove that thing also. For them, Anumanam is the final thing. And therefore, everything they want to prove through logic. That's how they are Nayayika. Everything they want to prove through Nyaya. Nyaya means logic, reasoning, Tarka, Anuman. Anyway, so even Pratyaksha Vishaya, this is the height of the Nayayikas. Anyway, so Sukshma Sharira Pratibhimbita Chaitanyam we need not infer, but Maya Pratibhimbita Chaitanyam, Karana Sharira Pratibhimbita Chaitanyam we have to infer because it is aspashtam. And therefore aspashta chidabhasaha, he is giving a reason. Vidyaranya gives a reason. Aspashta chidabhasaha anumiyatam. So may you infer that this aspashta. So I mean he is chidabhasaha anumiyatam. Reflection should be inferred, and he is using a adjective that is called a hetu garbha visheshana. They call it a visheshana, an adjective in whose belly the cause is also there or the argument is there. So basically, so reflection should be inferred, and for that reflection he has used the adjective aspashtaha. Since it is aspashtaha, since it is not clear, could you understand what I am saying? Certain adjectives work as a very argument itself. They are used as a adjective, but in that adjective's belly, the cause of using this, the reason also is given. So aspashtaha chidabhasa. Naturally, then it is anumiyatam only. Therefore, it should be inferred only. So, what type of inference? Then the example, Megha Akashavat. So, like the Akasha Pratibimba in the Megha, etc., which is inferred by us. The space which is reflected in the rain-bearing cloud, etc. You infer because you can't go there and see that, but you can infer. Same way, and same way here also you can infer. Let's go to 154. So sabhasamev tad bijam dhirupena prarohati ato buddhau chidabhasah vispashtam pratibhasate. So when did we infer Meghakasha Pratibimba? Well, actually, we did all these things before, and I will tell you verse number 20 and 21 in this chapter. There we did this kind of anuman in which we have inferred that that Akasha, the space is reflected even in the rain-bearing cloud, etc. That has been already discussed in the initial portion of this chapter. Anyway, so okay, what should be the anumanam here for us? Because it is anumiyata. This basically the reflection in the Maya, reflection in a Karana Sharira, etc. Well, it should be inferred. Then okay, It should be inferred. Then what is the inference vacuum? Because Anumana vacuum, like you want to infer, if you want to infer a fire on hillock, what will you do? So we will write, right? Parvataha vanniman, right? Dhumavatvat. And then you can give any example. And so you can give an example of a Pakashala vat, etc. etc. Pakashala. Or Yagnashala vat. So this is called Anumana vacuum, by which we have inferred actually the fire on the hillock. So here also, if you want to infer this reflected consciousness, and in the Maya, well, definitely it is to be inferred, and then you have to write an Anumana vacuum, which we are doing. And so here Maya Chaitanya Pratibimbavat, or Maya Pratibimba Chaitanyavati, we can say. So Maya Chaitanya Pratibimbavati, Maya is a Paksha. I discuss all these things, Paksha, Sadhya, Hetu, Drashtanta, if you remember that. No, Swamiji, don't give a lot of stress to us. Okay. So, see, let me take that example before, then I will talk about this. You see, Parvato Vanniman, Dhumavatvat, and we can say Pakashalavat. Okay. So, Parvato Vanniman, Parvata is called Paksha. Where you want to prove something is a Paksha. What you want to prove is a Sadhya. Right? That's a goal. And then for that you will give a reason called Hetu. And you have derived that the relationship, invariable relationship, they call invariable concomitance, but it's better, invariable relationship called Vyapti, by which we are really proving here also. Invariable relationship between what? Invariable relationship between a smoke and fire. And therefore, well, that is called Yatra Yatra Dhumaha Tatra Tatra Vanni. So that is Vyapti. And this kind of a invariable relationship between the two, you have seen in many instances, called, either in the kitchen, in the olden days kitchen, and or in a Yagnashala, where you have seen the fire, you have seen the smoke and fire. At the other place, smoke and fire. Or in campfire somewhere, you have seen that. Or in a fire, a conflagration somewhere in the forest fire or somewhere, sometime, so you will see the smoke also and the fire also. So all this become instances by which you derive a invariable relationship between two. Now out of the two, you see one thing on the place, and that is called, like, say, mountain. And then on the mountain you want to prove the second thing, and you see, suppose, a smoke. So Parvataha Vanniman, Parvata is the one where we want to prove that there is a fire. So Parvata is a place called Paksha, and that is where there is a smoke, and you have established a relationship between a smoke and fire everywhere, in places. I told you, kitchen and other things. And so here also you see a smoke, and therefore what will you infer? Fire, because since the smoke is there, fire must be there. So this is how the things are. So Parvataha Vanniman, Parvata is a Paksha, has a smoke, and so Dhumavatvat is a Hetu. Hetu means a argument or a cause. So Parvata has a fire. How will you say? Dhumavatvat, since it has a smoke. But how can you say wherever there is a smoke, there is fire? Well, I have seen many instances called Drashtanta, illustration, by which I establish an invariable relationship between the two. And thereby, well, definitely you prove here also on this mountain, which is called Paksha. There also you can prove the fire. Okay, and this fire is not perceptible naturally. Otherwise, if it is perceptible, why? I am not a Nayayika. If it is perceptible, I could see fire. Why should I do this kind of anuman? Why should I infer? What is available for perception, I need not infer. Anyway, so same way here also we have to prove what? Maya has a reflection. How will you prove? So by Anumanam, because it is basically that reflection is aspashtam and therefore not available. It's a potential, unmanifest. So not available. But why it is aspashtam? Because Maya is basically unmanifest. And therefore, the medium itself is unmanifest. Then, well, the reflection also will be unmanifest. And anything unmanifest is not available for perception. And therefore, they have said aspashtam. Anyway, so we want to prove reflection there. And for that, well, anumanam has to be done. Anumanam vakyam has to be written. It should have a paksha. It should have a sadhyam in anumana vakyam. And it should have a hetu, the cause, the reason, or the argument. And well, some drishtanta should be there. And everything we have. Nothing to worry. So Maya Chaitanya Pratibimbavati, like Parvato Vanniman, same way Maya Pratibimba Chaitanyavati. Maya is a paksha, where we want to prove something. What we want to prove? It has a reflection. So Chaitanya Pratibimbavati, well, definitely it's a sadhyam. It has a reflected consciousness that we want to prove. What is the reason? What will you say as an argument? Well, definitely. So you will have to give a reason for that. Avyakta buddhi rupatvat. So, well, Maya is nothing but all the buddhis in a unmanifest form. All the subtle bodies in unmanifest form. And buddhi vrittivat. So, like this buddhi vritti has a reflected consciousness, like the subtle body has a reflected consciousness. And well, that's an example you can take. And and since this Maya has all the subtle bodies in unmanifest condition, and therefore it also must have a reflection. Since this subtle body has a reflection, that how will you prove? Kya baat hai? What is this? What is this? Since you are talking to me, your mind is sentient or not? You are seeing me, your eyes are sentient or not? The subtle body is sentient or not? Yeah, it is a sentient. Then subtle body is sentient by nature, or subtle body is a sentiency on account of something? Oh, it is on account of consciousness. Oh, well. So basically subtle body has a borrowed consciousness that is called Chidabhasa. And therefore, I am reminding you people may be knowing, but for my own satisfaction, I am, reminding you. So basically, Maya also, so since the subtle body has a reflection, that's evident to you. Example means what? Which is evident to you. So that's the example. That subtle body has a reflection. And therefore Maya has also reflections of consciousness. We can give a cause. We can give an argument. What? This Maya is nothing but all the subtle bodies in unmanifest condition. The subtle body in unmanifest condition is called Karana Shariram. But if I say Karana Shariram, you will not understand it properly. So I will have to say, if this subtle body has a consciousness, reflected consciousness, then Maya also has all subtle bodies only. I told you, drops of water, like drops of water, but in a potential state. And therefore, but then it is in a potential state. It is not in a manifest state. Yeah, manifest or unmanifest. Ultimately, it is subtle body only. And therefore, so basically, it also has a reflection. Maya has also reflection. So if you want to write this Anumana Vakyam, you can write, so Maya Chaitanya Pratibimbavati, right? Comma. Avyakta Buddhi Rupatvat, and example. Buddhi Vritti, what? Well, like a subtle body has a reflection. So just as a Buddhi Vritti or a subtle body or a mind, Antakaranam has a reflected consciousness, Samashti Avyakta Buddhi also must have a reflected consciousness. So this is the inference Vakyam, Anumana Vakyam. Now Vidyaranya Swamiji says what happens later. So now in the Maya, well, basically all our minds are there. Your mind, my mind, all of them are there in a potential condition. Or we will say all our minds and all the senses, everything are there in Maya. I am saying like that, in Maya as Karana Shariram. Okay, same thing. I say all the minds, etc. are there in a potential condition, or all the minds, etc. are there in a Karana Shariram. In Maya as Karana Shariram. Either way I can say. So your mind is a potential form, is called Karana Shariram. My mind is in a potential form is called my Karana Shariram. All our minds basically in potential form, in the form of, in the form of all Karana Sharirams, along with our Sanchit Karmas also. That's a crucial thing which differentiates your Karana Shariram and my Karana Shariram. Because ultimately, what happens, in a potential condition, yesterday only I told you, you cannot distinguish an individual and total, or individual and individual, let's say. You cannot distinguish anything. That is a potential state. Like the whole, as I was giving an example yesterday, whole tree was there in the seed in a potential condition, but you cannot distinguish anything. Where is a trunk, where is a branch, where is etc. You cannot distinguish. And therefore, well, how will you distinguish? You said all the subtle bodies are there in Maya in a potential condition. Then it is just one thing. Then in that case, you have a different Karana Shariram, I have a different Karana Shariram. Naturally, because the Karana Shariram, the subtle body which you have got is definitely different. And the subtle body which I have got is definitely different. My mind is different, your mind is different, etc. etc. Several things are different. All the subtle bodies are different. And therefore, definitely Karana Shariram, the cause of it also must be different. But then that distinction is not there in a potential state. Then what should you, how will you understand it? So we say along with the Sanchita. This Karana Shariram or these potential subtle bodies are there in the Maya along with the Sanchita Karma. And so they were lying in the Maya, Sanchitas are there, just as raindrops are there, in the cloud itself, and then lots of lightning and thunder, etc. And means, this beauty is when they start describing the creation, then they assume this kind of thing. There is a lot of light and thunder and all that, and so at the time of creation, and so as it were. So and then the raindrops fall. So the rain-bearing clouds are there, in which you are not able to see distinctly all the drops. They are there, but you are not able to distinguish. And then thundering, etc., and then lightning, and etc., and then rain came down. At the time of creation also, as it were, lightning and thunder and all that, and then all the rains, all the drops, that is a rain, came down. So out of this cosmic mega, this, water drops came. So what are these water drops? The same subtle body. Every subtle body is like a one drop. My Sukshma Sharira is another drop, your Sukshma Sharira another drop. And this drops differences we cannot experience in mega, but now when it comes down, or when it is coming down itself, you are able to distinguish drops, every drop. And so this is what it is. So subtle body, that's how it has been compared in a potential state. In in potential state, it is compared like a drops of water, which you cannot distinguish, definitely. So Megha means the rain-bearing cloud is a Maya, in which there are all these water drops are there, all the subtle bodies are there, and and then it came down, and you are able to see each and every drop. And therefore, this is a way of a creation. They explain like this. So anyway, and so we get billions of drops of Sukshma Sharira. And so basically this Maya, which is considered as a Megha, all this Sukshma Sharira, and every Sukshma Sharira had that reflection very much there, which was not clear in the Maya, that is Megha. But because the Sukshma Sharira was not clear, and then it comes to manifestation, and Chidabhasa also becomes very, very evident. In that, Chidabhasa is not evident, but here Chidabhasa becomes very, very evident. So in Megha, the water, drops are there, and definitely which are not clear to you, and which of course we are inferring. But in each water drop, there is a reflection also of the space, but you are not able to distinguish. But once it falls on the ground, and suppose the water drops you are able to see, then definitely in each water drop you are able to see now the reflection of a space. Could you follow? And same way here also we have to understand that, well, Maya is, Megha is this nothing but this called Maya, in which all the subtle bodies are like water drops, which has a reflection also, and a reflection of a consciousness, but we are not able to see. But once, they become manifest, and manifest means the subtle bodies are manifesting now, and then definitely you are able to see distinctly, perceiving, you are able to see the Chidabhasa clearly. Chidabhasa in a subtle body is very, very evident to you, which I talked to you. And well, and then Chidabhasa becomes evident, and and that's our experience also. You say I am here, and I say I am here, etc., etc. And so many jivas, that's what Chidabhasa is, has come out from this Brahman through Maya. So this has been told in this verse. And now let's see the word meaning of this. So tad bijam, this seed form of the mind, which are antakaranam. And what is the seed form basically? Karana shariram. So all the karana shariram, the potential, mind, sabhasaha eva. So with the potential chidabhasa, all the potential minds. What he does is, instead of talking entire subtle body, he goes by buddhi, etc. Buddhi means a mind. And so basically, we also talk like that, the consciousness reflects in the mind, etc. So he goes like that. But you should not consider just mind. You should take whole subtle body, and then you should extend it to the gross body also, because sentience is in a gross body also. And that sentience is due to Chidabhasa. And therefore, through subtle body, Chidabhasa, pervades the gross body also. Otherwise, gross body will be inert only, therefore it will be a dead body. But it is a sentient right now. And therefore, definitely, you should consider both the bodies. But basically, instead of taking the bodies, he just take a component called mind. And so basically, Sabhasaheva, with this potential Chidabhasa is there in all the potential minds, all the Karana Shariram, with the potential, with unmanifest Chidabhasa or potential Chidabhasa, and during Pralayam. And it was like what? All are dormant. And at the time of Srushti, definitely, Dhirupena, in the form of a manifest mind or active mind, they prarohati, means they germinate. The bijam is there. Karana Shariram is a bijam, is a seed. And in that, definitely this consciousness is, the Chidabhasa reflected consciousness is not evident to you, aspashtam, but when it manifests into the form of a buddhi, subtle body, then definitely it manifests. So he is using word prarohati, germinate, because we have compared that Karana Shariram or Maya, etc. as a bijam. Right? And so he says, from that bijam, like a sprout comes out. Same way, from this Karana Shariram, a Sukshma Sharira comes. The Sukshma Sharira, which was their potential, like the whole tree in a potential condition, is the bijam. That's how bija has a Vriksha Shakti. The entire, the power to power of this tree basically is there in this seed only. Same way here also, Maya has that potential to manifest into the whole creation. Creation is like a tree, and so it comes out from that Maya only. Maya is a bijam. So we can say creation in a potential condition is a Maya. That we have discussed that way. Anyway, I don't want to go into that. So from Karana Shariram, definitely this Sukshma Shariram, a seed, Karana Shariram is a seed, Sukshma Shariram sprouts, germinates. So he uses the word prarohati. Roha or with pra upasarga means to germinate, to sprout. So instead of using the word Sukshma Shariram, he refers to a prominent part of the Sukshma Shariram called buddhi, mind. And for that he is using the word dhi. Earlier he used the word buddhi. Now here he is using the word dhi. Means basically dhirupena prarohati. It manifests in the form of a mind or a subtle body. And when mind is sputam, naturally, means it is clear, naturally reflection also will become clear. Medium is clear, reflection is clear. If medium is hazy, reflection is hazy. That's how it is. If medium is unmanifest, reflection is unmanifest. So that he tells in a second, and so he says in a second line, Ataha Chidabhasaha Vispashtam Pratibhasate. Since the manifest mind is very clear, and so Chidabhasa, the reflection in that mind also would be clear. The mind is manifest, and therefore reflection also is manifest. And so in that manifest mind, which is now converted from Karana Shariram to Sukshma Shariram, Vispashtam Pratibhasate, Chidabhasa becomes very, very clear. So Chidabhasa is basically a clean, localized consciousness. Out of our life, in our life, you have 3 states. And in 2 states, you are basically a limited consciousness. You are a localized consciousness. In a 3rd state, you are unlocalized, limitless consciousness. This is how it is. It's your own experience. Same I, not new I. One I associates with reflected consciousness that is limited, definitely. And therefore, in a waking state, in a dream state, you have a consciousness, or you are very clear that you are basically a very limited entity in terms of time, place, and object-wise also, because you are counting the attributes for that I. Whatever you may say, I am a human being or whatever, anything. So so time-wise, space-wise, and object-wise, you are a limited entity. Same I. And what happens in a deep sleep state is everything drops. Neither time, neither space, no object. That's how I am very boldly telling you that I, and it is consciousness, because experience is there. Since the deep sleep state experience is there, there is that proves that consciousness is there. And the same I which is free from that consciousness, I, available in dream and deep sleep state, has no awareness of a time, space, and object. He doesn't associate with any kind of attributes also. And therefore, it is limitless consciousness. Understand this. Same I becomes a ahankara in these 2 states, or let's say is a localized consciousness. We can call Chidabhasa also, because the medium should be there. Then I will become a localized or limited entity, and mediums are there. And these mediums are not there in a deep sleep state. Since mediums are not there, reflection also is not there. Then I'll shine in my own glory. That's my own glory. Okay? And that is how everyone likes to go to the deep sleep state all the time, wherever the chance comes. Yeah, because that's your state. That's your natural state. Sata somya tada sampanno bhavati swam apito bhavati tasya swapiti iti nama. Chandogya Upanishad said, swapiti, swam apito bhavati. So whole thing basically is resolved into this Sat. In Chandogya, Brahman is called Sat. So Sata Somya, Sampanno Bhavati, Sadrupena. It's a Itham Bhute Trutiya. Sata means Sadrupena. This person, who was a waker and dreamer and all that, and the waking world and dream world and time and space and all the objects and everything, Sat Rupena. Everything has become Sat. Imagine. That's what Upanishad says. Everything. The waker becomes Sat. Waking world becomes Sat. The waking time, waking space, everything becomes Sat. Dream world, dreamer, and dream time, dream space. Everything becomes Sat. Where? In deep sleep state. Everything resolves into Sat. Because definitely, Sadeva Somya idamagrasit ekameva dvitiyam. From Sat alone everything came. And therefore, from the place where it comes, there only it resolves. And therefore, definitely, very beautiful. So, in a deep sleep state, he is just Sat. If you have a awareness of yourself as a localized being, as a limited being in terms of space, time, and some kind of an attributes, you are not in a deep sleep state. You are not in a deep sleep state. A deep sleep state is a one. You are just one with Brahman. Because you are Brahman. Not you are one with Brahman. You are identical to Brahman because you are Brahman. And you definitely you definitely get reflected when the mediums become active. So when the subtle body, gross body, etc. are there, definitely you are a localized consciousness. And when they are not there, you are limitless, unlocalized. And therefore, this is how it is. And that is how a deep sleep state also is enjoyed by everyone without any kind of an experience of any objects, etc. Without even, awareness of the world, awareness of your pleasures, all the objects which you desire, all the desirable objects which are even surrounding, they are there. But basically, you are consciousness in one state and you are reflected consciousness in other two states. So same I cannot be reflected consciousness and consciousness both. And therefore, that's how they say, in a deep sleep, in a waking state, due to upadhi, you are a reflected consciousness. So, and the upadhi is a gross and subtle body. Same way in a dream state, again, you get a different body. So what? It's a different upadhi. Yeah, the gross body in a dream state is different than gross body in a waking state, naturally, because the whole dream world arises in that nadi, I told you. And therefore, with the gross body, this 5 feet 8 inch is where it is going to get accommodated, and the dream world. So that gross body which you obtain in a dream state is different. The subtle body is different. In fact, all your senses have resolved. Then only you have gone to the sleep, and then you are basically half awake, etc., to see the dream. So there, the senses which we have got are different. In a waking state, you are wearing the specs. But definitely, that's how in dream also we have space. That's correct. But this specs we have put it somewhere else, while going to sleep. And so you are not wearing those specs. So that specs also are different. So what we call as upanetram. Upanetram also different. Or you are having a hearing aid, that also you have kept it out while going to sleep. But there, in a dream state, you have this hearing aid also. Possible, all these things, because these are the samskaras. Dream time, dream space, dream body, dream gross body, dream subtle body, and dream world. Everything is swam apito bhavati. Well, everything resolves into this sat, from where again in a waking state things come out. So anyway, since the medium is there, upadhi is there, you manifest in the medium as a Chidabhasa. And in subtle body, well, definitely the Chidabhasa is very, very clear. And therefore, this same Sukshma Sharira, well, definitely subtle body, is in a potential condition. That is called Karana Shariram. And definitely the reflection must be there, because the material is same. Whatever the material, a fine material we say, fine material. The fine material is there even in a potential condition. And therefore, Chidabhasa must be there in Karana Shariram. And Maya is nothing but a Karana Prapancha. Right? Maya is nothing but a Karana Prapancha. And therefore, just as a Megha is nothing but all water drops in a potential state, if you pass through the Megha, you may not be, you may not be able to see even the water drops. Maybe very fine one. You should not extend too much, but I'm just saying, it is possible that you may not be able to see water drops which are falling. You may not be able to see those big water drops. They say it's a process of some condensation or something, and it takes time before it falls down, the rain falls down, and whatever it is. But I'm saying, whatever may be the thing, but then the potential state, let's say, water drops potential state, but the reflection would be there, because material is same. If water drop which is manifest has a reflection of the space, then the same water drop which is in a potential state, well, material is same. So we'll have a reflection of space. Clear now? Is it clear? And therefore, this is how I experience Chidabhasa in the body, in the subtle body, etc. And therefore says, Vispashtam pradibhasate ataha Chidabhasaha. The reflection in that mind which is now manifest condition, or a subtle body in the manifest condition, Vispashtam, very clear. Okay, let's go to this 155. Maya bhasena jiveshau karoti iti shrutau shrutam megakasha jalakashau ivatau suvyavasthitau. So, a little correction in the first line. Karoti iti shrutau shrutam. In Shrutau, Shru should be clear. If it is not clear, please make it clear. So, thus Ishvara is Ishvara because of Chidabhasa. This Brahman does not have any superior attribute. Ishvara is a superior attribute. Well, that is because of Chidabhasa. Well, again, that Chidabhasa is, they always call, Pratibimba is always considered as a, they say it is Pakshapati. I mean, it is the medium, basically. Upadhi Pakshapati. See, that's how they say. Upadhi Pakshapati, Chidabhasa. Upadhi, this is a subtle body. So, the type of a Chidabhasa, well, is totally dependent upon the type of a medium. And so medium is very, if the colored water, then definitely reflection of sun would be definitely colored, naturally. Or the water may be very muddy, then the reflection would be very dull, etc. Anyway, so the Ishvara is a Ishvara because of a Chidabhasa, and Brahman does not have any superior attribute. Jiva is a Jiva because of a Chidabhasa, because the Brahman definitely is not having any inferior attribute. So, what are the prominent components in both? The Chidabhasa Pradhana. Ishvaraha Chidabhasa Pradhana Jivaha. And because Ishvara's Ishvaratvam is because of superior Chidabhasa, Jiva's Jivatvam is because of inferior Chidabhasa. Both Chidabhasas are caused by ultimately due to medium. And one has an inferior medium called mind, let's say. We can go to Karana Sharira, but let's not go. So, basically one has a mind and other has a Maya. Mind at a Vesti level, Maya at a Samashti level. And therefore Veda says, well, Maya is responsible for the arrival of Ishvara and Jiva ultimately. So because Maya serves as a medium for the arrival of the reflection. Without Maya, reflection is not possible. And if reflection is not there, Ishvara itself will not be possible. So at the Samashti level, well, basically Ishvara emerges because of Maya. At the Vesti level, Jiva emerges because of Maya only. Why Maya? You are saying some Karana Shariram or subtle body, etc. Now you are saying Maya. It has subtle body is what? Subtle body is what? Maya only. Ultimately, everything has come from Maya. That is how we did. This is a basic question. You are saying subtle body. For Ishvara, well, the medium is Maya. And for us, the medium is basically subtle body. And so, as though subtle body is independent of Maya. They never think that way. Never. Everything ultimately from Maya. That's how Maya abhasena jiva ishav karoti. In fact, we analyzed this statement before. This is in the Upanishad itself, in the Uttartapani Upanishad. And we have analyzed before this particular statement. That Maya alone through Chidabhasa creates Jiva and Ishvara. And that time we analyze a very serious question. Maya creates Ishvara and Maya creates Jiva. Oh, you, so both are created. Means both have a birth date. Oh, you, don't think of that. Don't think. We discussed that issue and I am reminding you that thing. So Maya is responsible for the arrival of both Ishvara and Jiva. So if you don't want, Karoti means let's say arrival. So Maya at both macro and micro level, Jiva Ishav Karoti. So, well, because of that, only Jiva and Ishvara appears. Through what? Abhasena, Maya Abhasena. Abhasena means through the reflection, through Chidabhasa. Definitely, one has a Chidabhasa inferior, one has a Chidabhasa superior. And that is how, this is within quotation. Because iti shrutau shrutam. Iti shows a quotation. Before that, whatever is there is a quotation. So what is a quotation? Maya bhasena jiveshav karoti. That's a quotation. Quotation from where? Shrutau shrutam. It is the quotation from the Shruti, from the Upanishad. And which Upanishad? Nrsimha Uttaratapaniya Upanishad. So iti shrutau shrutam. This has been well seen in the, or this has been mentioned in the Shruti called Nrsimha Uttaratapaniya Upanishad. And so Megha Akasha, and then he gives an example, corresponding example he gives. For Jiva and Ishvara, he gives an example. Both are Chidabhasa. So Megha Akasha, Jala Akasha, Iva, like the Megha Akasha, which is a macro reflection, and Jala Akasha. Do you remember this Jala Akasha? The Jala Akasha means Jala Pratibimbita Akasha. And that Jala Pratibimbita Akasha, where? That in the pot, in the pot, there is a space, right? That is called Ghata Akasha. Then in the pot, you fill water. And now there is a reflection of the space. So that is called Jalakasha. That, so Ghatakasha means original Akasha. We should say like that. Ghatakasha, original Akasha. Then in the pot there is a water, in that there is a reflection of the space, that is called Jalakasha. So it is it's at a Vesti level. So Jala Pratibimbita Akasha at Vesti. Mega Pratibimbita Akasha Samashti. That's how it is. So okay. So Mega Akasha well definitely corresponds to Ishvara. That's also reflection. And Jalakasha is a micro reflection in the pot. And so same way, Mega Akasha can be compared with our Ishvara, because it is at the Samashti level, or it's a bigger reflection. And Jalakasha well definitely corresponds to Jiva. And so Megakasha, Jalakasha Iva, like this two, Megakasha and Jalakasha, Mega Pratibimbita Akasha, Jala Pratibimbita Akasha, like that, Tausu Vyavasthitau, this Ishvara and Jiva are well organized, they are in good order. Means we have explained that both are Chidabhasa, like Megakasha and Jalakasha. Okay? So this is with this. Now we have to, I think, give a temporary break to this Panchadashi classes here. Anyway, Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om.